Hey folks, and welcome back to That Time We Woke Up in a Podcast and Had to Explain Manga, our heated adventures overanalyzing manga that we find interesting. My name is Sam, and welcome back to December. We are out of No Read November. We are finally free from that restraint we were all living under for so long. You know what we need to do to celebrate? Steamy romance. We read More Than a Married Couple, Less Than Lovers by Yūki Kanamaru, chapters 1-12. So, I don't know, have a cloth nearby to clean up and enjoy the show. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Over Manga Cast. My name is Sam. As always, here at the top of the show, we talk about our familiarity with the product that we read this week. This is an unknown for me. Hadn't read this one before. How about you, Jacob?
Nope, never heard of this.
All right, Jay, how about you?
Never heard about this. I saw it advertised because I heard it was getting I think it was a second volume published, and I was just like, this looks fun. So first read here, and yeah.
All right, and Matt.
I had been told about this from Jay, who had led me to believe she knew a lot more about it than what she just said seems to indicate. So
We were on the call, and I had walked everyone through this.
so we read this on Jay's recommendation is really where we are now.
Yay!
Yeah! And we open up this 4chan green text, manga, with a normal domestic scene of a woman making food. A man wakes up in the morning, gives her a hug, and she fixes his tie, sends him off, except they're both actually appear to be smiling through intense amounts of hatred as they are being very antagonistic towards one another. Some sort of counter keeps going off.
I do find it kind of funny that this is actually in medias res, that we actually come back to this exact scene later in our reading.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. It's I bet you're wondering how I got here, and then we actually get back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but,
And it's not even an important moment. It's just some random moment in the middle of our reading.
yeah, but first we need the establishing incident for this like fetish fuel.
Oh, the insanity! Like, thank goodness the insanity was front loaded, because I don't know if I could have handled it if it wasn't.
I love how they establish this wacky premise and then backtrack on it like several times, but not in a way that matters. Like,
they introduce something that is so unfathomably insane, I still don't quite comprehend what the fuck's going on, and then they backtrack on everything that isn't required for the plot to continue.
Well, you see, Jacob, the birthright.
I know! I was thinking about that the whole time!
that's
someone's a
why they're
perv.
doing it, but
It's so dumb.
Is it?
no,
Yes.
because that would be an explanation that makes sense, which is not what we get. Like,
Nope.
Yes, we are not told in universe that it's the Japanese birthright that's the problem, but clearly
clearly it must be. Like,
yeah,
Yes.
the subtext
Because
is there.
how is this legal? How is any part of this
well,
even
they
possible?
wait until they're seniors
Yeah.
in their third year of high school, and
Yeah.
they're all 18.
Yeah. So if the assignment goes according to plan, hey, they're all the same age, so they don't have to run into any weirdness. And if it goes well, after graduation, they can all get married legally.
You know what, Jay? I'm so glad that you confirmed that nothing is weird about this.
Nope.
That this is all completely normal and okay.
Completely normal if you need to address a birth rate crisis.
Uh-huh.
Well, don't worry. They make it weird by backtracking at one point, which I found really fun. They made it worse by backtracking at one point. I know this is so confusing for people who didn't do the reading, and in a rare case, I'll say, good for you.
So, what are we working with here? Well, we open up with Anon-kun, our protagonist, Yakuin Jiro, heading to school with his buddy, unnamed second guy, until like chapter 8. Seriously,
Yeah.
we never get man's name.
Mm-mm. And it's not really that important.
We must. Like, legitimately, I had to message Jay midway through the reading because I was unclear if Homeboy was even part of this, like, experiment they're doing.
Apparently,
Mhm.
yes, he
Yeah.
is, but that's not made clear, and, like, I had to, like, flip pages and make sure, like I assume they went to the same school, or is it, like, the whole middle school friend situation that they just keep in contact, but they go to different high schools?
Yeah.
No, they go to the same school, are participating in the same program.
Yeah, we
Because
keep
he's in the
talking about
same
this.
class that has this announcement.
So let's speed run to get everyone up to speed, and then we can actually just talk about this. So Homeboy, who has no personality, our main character, Jiro, has a loser friend who is not named for a bunch of chapters, and I'm sorry, the main character has a childhood friend, Shiori, who he is clearly in love with. She is prototypical girl next door nonsense. My childhood friend and first love is her description.
And that's also her entire personality as
Yeah.
well.
And
Well, she
basic
doesn't know. She does not know these are his feelings.
No, through the most convoluted scenario of two people just not getting to the goddamn point.
Yes, they're childhood friends, and they refer to each other as "my childhood friend, my childhood friend."
They're aggressively teenagers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get the actual main girl, Watanabe-san, who is a gal girl, basically. Like, she's got,
Yeah.
like, the makeup, she's got, like, the scrunchie on her inner thigh.
Hot.
We are literally introduced to her with a like floor angled up shot so we can see the scrunchy garter and her panties under her skirt.
Yep.
Yeah,
She
but
is
It's a
also just
choice.
she is also just it girl. Like, she's not just, like, super fashionable or whatnot. She is also the it girl of the school.
She is diva, she is the moment.
yeah.
Yes.
And she is mean to everyone except for,
Hot guy.
hot guy in the class, Minami-san, and basically, I thought they were dating, and I realized that was not true way
It's
too
wishful
late.
thinking. Wishful thinking.
She really wants to be dating him
Oh,
to
yeah.
the point where he's like, "Oh wow, Watanabe, we're in the same class again. Let's make it another great year." And her blushing so hard she looks like she's about to pass out. It's like, "Yeah, another great year with you, Minami-kun."
Yeah, and basically everyone who matters is now in this class, and we get introduced to the inciting incident and the entire point of this manga, the couple practicum, which is essentially this school has decided that during senior year they pair off. It's not made explicit here, but clearly it must be this later on. All people in the senior year class are pathed into boy-girl relationships where they are given an apartment to live in, but that's kind of weird. Don't worry, there's separate bedrooms, and the separate bedrooms can only be accessed with a fingerprint lock.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. And just in case you didn't think it was weird enough, it's basically a season of Big Brother because there's cameras in all the communal living areas to see them doing couple stuff or not couple stuff. And depending on how couple they are, their score goes up or down.
Sam, you're misrepresenting it a little. There's no cameras in the bathroom.
No, because
Because
that's
I did
lewd.
say the communal areas.
There are cameras in their bedrooms.
I forgot that part.
It's not clear until they get points for things that happen in the bedroom at one point.
Oh, yeah.
Which, frankly, I could see them getting points for something that happens in the bathroom and then going like, by the way, we were watching you in the bathroom. Except,
I might have misread that because I thought Watanabe
thought-
complained about them being in the bathroom too. I might have misread that though.
Actually, you know what? I think it is actually only the bedrooms are locked with a fingerprint scanner.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love how the immediate implication is, oh, they're not supposed to be in a bedroom alone together, but then later on they can just let each other in. So
That was my immediate thought. Like, if they're doing consensual whatever, like, dude, yeah, you just buzz you in. How is that a deterrent?
It's so that you are not forced to live with this person, but you still are. So it's like it's weird.
they're holding graduation over because they make it very clear multiple times. If you don't pass this absolutely fucking bonkers class, you don't graduate.
Yeah. And at first I was reading it charitably to say, okay, they obviously want these guys, like these kids, to have healthy, functioning relationships, which, you know what? Good for them. It's important to like develop those skills early on.
That's not what they grade on, though.
But yeah, yeah.
They grade on cutesy bullshit. Like,
They basically grade on all of the red flags for a dysfunctional relationship.
They grade on a very strict rubric of traditional married couple.
Of TV, Japanese TV traditional married couple, very specifically. And like the other thing is,
you could read a wild cyberpunk dystopia into this setting.
This is a cyberpunk dystopia. What do you mean?
because like the thing is, what they're grading on, if you add the like little fan theory that this is a government incentive because of the birth rate crisis, they are being graded on how close they are to having sex. Like that is,
and based off of certain things that happen later, yes, I agree with that assessment.
I know what you're thinking also. Hey, it's kind of weird that the teachers are grading this by watching cameras of these.
I was gonna mention that.
By like these, they're 18, so not like minors, but like still teenagers.
It's barely legal bullshit. It's still weird.
Look it up. It's like, don't worry. The cameras are all completely automated. This is done by AI.
But that AI still needed to be trained.
Yeah, that was my immediate thought.
That is absolutely something that they just tell the kids so that they brush it off. Somebody is directly watching this and whacking off to it.
Sam.
Anyway, so
what, Jay? What? Am I wrong?
Minus 10 points.
I will say the one thing about it is, if it is actually an AI doing it, it explains why the schmaltzy nonsense that's actually red flags for a bad relationship actually do get them points, because an AI would, bad data in, bad results out, but you're reading too much into the premise.
Yeah. So anyway, the main character, while this is being expositioned at him, goes, "Man, that Watanabe girl is really cute. I guess that's just faking it, but I'd kill myself if we were in the same room together in this practicum. But that's only a 1 in 75% chance." Cut to them being in the same room, him getting the shit beaten out of him by her. Like,
of course, because that's what this story is. Like, the premise exists to create the situation where they can put 3 characters into a dynamic. That's what this is.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, much as I feel like, the thing is, Jiro absolutely is a like cardboard cutout that
he's Anon-kun.
This kind of character exists because you're supposed to pluck him out of the story and place, and like, how would I handle this situation?
Exactly. And we know how Jacob would handle the situation.
Okay, you stop that. You're supposed to pluck Jiro or whatever cardboard cutout protagonist out of the situation, and like the idea is supposed to be, how would I handle this situation if I was in his shoes?
Yeah, Jay, how would you handle Watanabe being your wife?
I probably would have killed her, honestly.
I think you'd lose points for that. But yeah, as far as self-insert filler characters go, Jiro isn't bad. He has enough personality to not be annoying at the very least. Like, he's inoffensive, which that means he's ticked the box in what he's supposed to do. And I will say, a good number of the characters are actually interesting enough to carry my attention. Like, it has the advantage of front-loading all of the weird, stupid bullshit, and then just kind of turns into a character piece, and it benefits from that. If you can get over the initial hump, then this is fine.
The 3 chapters we get that actually give Watanabe some pathos were the only thing keeping me going.
Oh. But yeah, so basically they immediately get points deducted because they're constantly fighting. The points deducting causes another argument where she calls him an unsociable prick. He goes, "Please stop doing that. We're getting deducted points." And then they start reading the handbook for what gets points,
Mm-hmm.
which is just cutesy nonsense.
They read it in the most suggestive positions possible, where he's man spreading like hell, and she is just face down, ass up to look over his shoulder.
And like they both come to the conclusion that neither of them want a relationship with the other. So clearly what they need to do is work together, get a very high score, because for some really stupid reason that they have to backtrack to explain later on, if you're in the top 10 scorers at the end of each month, you get to like choose to rearrange and pick a new partner.
Yeah.
So if you get along or you appear to get along really well, you can just pick somebody else for like
The mechanics of this are not explained because it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Because you'd think if you're scoring very poorly, that would be the situation they'd offer you, to
you
swap
don't have
partners.
good chemistry, obviously, so pick somebody else.
If the metrics aren't good enough, then you need to stay in the loveless marriage until the morale improves. It's only the people who are successful who get to have extramarital affairs.
No,
Mhm.
Sam, you're not understanding. They need to really hammer into these kids' heads that marriages are inherently unhappy until you bring children into the mix to fix it. So they need to give the people who are in successful relationships unsuccessful relationships so that they can increase the birth rate.
By the gods. The point being that Jiro and Akari both agree to work hard together to get the A rank, because that will allow them to then swap so they can have their ideal partners. Jiro will be with Shiori, and Akiri will be with Minami. And just to make things a little spicier, Shiori and Minami randomly got paired to be together.
Mhm.
Well, let's minimize the number of characters so we can actually focus on them.
Yeah.
Jake, I was going for the for the doylist.
It also weirdly sets up that these apartments are all just next to each other and exist for the practicum. So
Yeah.
it's like, in what?
It's like the entire like training cities that they build in the shonens.
No, you're right. This is the equivalent of going to a high school for Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah. A high school on an island. Now that the goal is set, our poor virgin nerd and our Gyaru need to be the best couple they possibly can be, which just involves a whole bunch of ecchi shenanigans because Jiro desperately
This is insane. Because Jiro comes back from getting a drink from the vending machine in their apartment complex to Watanabe just coming out of the bath. And like,
in her go-to lounge outfit, which is a barely fitting shirt, booty shorts, and lacy underpants. Just lacy undergarments.
I think she pretty much regularly just wears that to bed and just to lounge around in.
You know what? I'm not gonna hate it.
I legitimately do not think she dressed up for this man. I think she also just wears that.
This is
Because
That
just
does
what
seem
she
to
does.
be what she normally wears, yeah.
She seems to find this comfortable and thinks she looks good in it. And you know what? Fine for her.
yeah. So
Live
anyway,
your truth.
main character's boyfriend comes over saying, "Hey, my room is empty now," which I guess is indicating that he was part of this like practicum.
Mhm.
But it's very unclear until he mentions his wife offhandedly later. But because they have decided they are going to be the best at this, Watanabe demands a goodbye kiss. But because the main character is a stupid virgin who doesn't understand anything and is being hurried by his boyfriend, he goes, "Fuck it, fine." Takes her by the hand, gives her a long tongue kiss, and they go from -4 points to +5. Or I'm sorry, they break even. The +5
Yeah.
happens later, but like literally, just
Okay, I'm gonna say several times that this manga is really incelly, and the biggest and one of the first like offenders that sets the tone is here, where after giving her that very, very intimate and spicy goodbye kiss, Jiro walks away to go play World of Warcraft or whatever with his friend and says, "Ugh, I can't believe my slut wife."
He calls her a slut like all the time because unfortunately that is how In certain circles, gyaru are perceived.
Gyaru
Mhm.
stereotype.
Also, to be fair, she frequently calls him a virgin. Like
Yeah, no,
they're
Yeah,
trading
no.
the
It's
same level
funny because it's a
insults.
slut and a virgin. Haha, someone who doesn't have sex and one who has a lot of it. It's funny.
Yes,
Except
that it's you know, initially it's like, yeah, they're trading punch for punch. That's fine. It's when he does the big like make out goodbye kiss and is like, oh, this slut. And then she's like, oh god, I've never even kissed somebody before. Why'd he kiss me on the lips? Oh god, I'm just as much of a virgin as he is. Then I'm like, oh, I see.
It's
Well,
just a look. It's a vibe.
they don't confirm that part now. She confirms that later on, but
Fair,
this
fair.
is just her going like, "Why'd he kiss me on the lips?" Which could be a lot of reasons at this point in the story.
Yeah.
He assumed that he wanted to give her what she obviously was most useful for, and that she would get out of his hair so he could go play his video games. Obviously.
yeah. I
Just need
kind
to
of figured
bang
I'd
my wife so that she'll let me go raid. It's Tuesday night.
You insatiable woman, fine.
I need to parse.
I need to protect the planet for Super Earth. Leave me alone, woman.
I'm never going to get world first mythic if you keep being on my dick.
Quite literally, get off my dick. I need it to be rock hard when I yell at losers in the game.
I'll interject when they say anything that's wrong. No, I was kind of expecting to mention this like in the wrap up at the end, but just because the nature of the way that the scene works kind of illustrates perfectly. One of my big takeaways from this, I am a romantic. I like romance in stories, but I generally speaking tend not to gravitate towards pure romances, and I prefer a series that has some kind of premise or hook that has nothing to do with the romance, that just has a strong romance B plot. Because this whole thing, it is a combination of extremely fast paced whilst also being glacially paced, like simultaneously. Because the whole oh no first kiss bit, that is very quickly paced. Like that's advancing their relationship in a big way very early on. It's the end of the first chapter, and these are decently sized chapters, and it leverages it being a monthly series well to, because it's like I'm more used to weekly series. When I read manga, they're usually weekly series, and I'm it's like I know the normal pace of, okay, this is about where the chapter is going to end, but no, they fill it out with a bit more like detail and fleshing out the story in a good way. It uses its page count well, but it always tries to have something big happen in any given chapter because it's monthly. But it also has to keep resetting to the status quo because the only draw of this story is the will they won't they aspect of it. So if they change anything too greatly, it drastically shortens the length of the story. So like there is this aspect of the whole, like at the end of the first chapter is like this big romantic kiss. It has this duality of like, wow, that happened really quickly, and wow, this is not going to do anything for their relationship in all of the 12 chapters we read. It's going to be minorly important a little bit about midway through, because if they move too quickly, then the manga ends.
It's the spark for the entire painfully slow burn.
Yeah. And I mean, I like slow burn romances, but it creates this weird pacing issue. This is a very disposable type romance story. Like it's not meant to be the stuff of legends. But this is that's sort of why I tend to bounce off of pure romances like this, even with a wacky premise like this.
Yeah, and like speaking of glacially slow pace, the next chapter, the first half of it is him crying about the fact they kissed, and then being weirdly possessive of Watanabe. And like,
Yeah. Honestly,
there's
that tracks for like the weird virgin nerd.
yeah,
They do. Well, the thing is, they come off as teenagers. Like they authentically come off as teenagers, which teenagers can be stupid and annoying at times.
I don't want to condone Jiro at any point, but
yeah, no, but it is not necessarily relatable, but at the very least understandable why he is the way he is. And honestly, same thing with Watanabe to a large degree.
Yeah. And like
even if this isn't your high school experience, it's a believable. They're believable high schoolers.
Indeed.
Yep. So anyway, they haven't got any points past that first kiss that brought them back up to a flat 0. The teacher is actually talking with Jiro about how that's actually really concerning that they've gotten no points in an entire week of work. Meanwhile, Watanabe has gone to karaoke with her friends, and a boy is going to be there. And
not just a boy, Minami-kun.
The boy.
Yeah, and basically he is having like jealousy fever dreams that she is going to just be like, hey, I'm done singing with this karaoke. How about we go into the back room and I can give my throat a different kind of workout? And he'd be like, that stupid slut would say that. Anyway, I'm just going to sit here waiting until my childhood crush comes here.
Yes, because he is trapped at school because it's pouring rain and he didn't bring an umbrella.
I hate it when that happens.
Shiori shows up, and she also forgot an umbrella. So, isn't this so cool? They're just going to hang out a little bit, just like old times.
Except no, Minami's there.
Yeah.
Which just like, you're supposed to be at karaoke with his wife. What's going on? He's just like, I wouldn't leave my wife to be here alone. Oh, hey, thanks for watching my wife, dude. Well,
catch you later, man.
I'm going to not go to karaoke with Watanabe, I guess.
Yep.
I will say that
there's also this entire thing where like Jiro is refusing to call Shiori by her first name. He keeps calling her Sakurazaka, right. And she's like, dude, we've known each other all our lives. Call me Shiori.
I'm going to say this right now. If we have to say every time Shiori and main character Kun have a conversation that goes nowhere, it's going to take forever. Like, nothing they talk about actually matters. It's insane.
No, I know. I just wanted to establish that. Because that is a baseline that comes up a bunch.
Well, yeah, because it's like from Jiro's perspective, referring to a girl by her first name is a level of intimacy he doesn't think he deserves. I mean, like, I will say, I think I might be a little bit more forgiving of Jiro than the rest of the cast, because to me, like, no, his behavior isn't like good, but it's also like stupid teenager who doesn't have experience kind of mentality. Like, I get where he's coming from. I understand why he's making the stupid mistakes that he is, and the mistakes are, flowing authentically. And Shiori also, as she's decided to, establish herself and like her dynamic with the rest of the cast. She also comes off, as like an authentically stupid teenager. And then there's Minami. He sure does exist.
Yeah.
The degree to which he's not a character in all of the 12 chapters we read is odd to me. I'm kind of wondering what they're going to do with him, because he really does feel like a third wheel in this three-way.
He's supposed to be really important.
Because he's the obstacle, is what he is.
They sure do spill a lot of ink trying to establish that.
He's supposed to be the boyfriend he's jealous of for both his childhood. They will amazingly let him double up as the love rival for both his childhood friend and Watanabe. Except, as we find out about Minami, he doesn't give a shit. Like,
honestly, I am halfway convinced that there's going to be a reveal later that Minami is super gay and is just really good at pretending so that he can pass these weird practicals.
Honestly, if that's what it's going for, I would be so for that. That would actually work. I would be.
Do you think he doesn't know? Because
no, he's. I think the term is beard.
Yeah, it's like Bad Cinderella. He's going full beard.
I have a feeling the manga's going in the direction that he actually does have a crush on Shiori.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, Watanabe makes main character Amu rice omelet because they need cute points is literally all that happens there.
Yep, they need some cute points. And he's like, wow, getting Omu rice from a 3D girl? Insane. Because we haven't mentioned he's a gotcha freak.
Yep.
Yeah.
That comes up. That comes up. I found that funny personally. I don't know what anyone else's opinion is.
I'm
I
just
thought it
saying
was
that's
pretty
why
funny.
I have my doubts of the previous like the previous suggestion theory, I guess. It's just because I think he's like very obtuse. He's very mature and obtuse and only has experience with 2D women.
Well, no,
like-
not Jiro. Minami is the one we think might, or
Might
is
be
the one
gay.
that, the one that Sam
yes.
suggested.
Yes.
Yes.
There is no way you can think main character is gay. Holy shit. Like,
No, I think
He might be.
we get his internal monologue about how he's popping boners over women constantly.
It could be. Women are just very pretty.
I'm not
Pop
gay,
a
I
boner
Women are
for
pretty.
appreciating art. That's not the definition of sexual attraction. What the hell?
Gotta keep it spicy.
I'm
Gotta
not
keep it
gay. I
spicy.
just appreciate the female form.
There we go. Period.
And every closeted lesbian Jake's ever written.
Shut up, you. We'll
I'm
get to
right.
that character in this manga later.
Oh my! Yeah, I got words when we get there. Probably after the break, but who knows?
But yes.
Anyway, the next chapter is literally Watanabe wakes him up in the middle of the night to say, "Hey, watch a scary movie with me, so we can get cute points on the couch."
Yeah.
And then I can only assume the series of events that happens is because there is a human being behind that camera. Because holy shit, does the movie is too scary for main character Kun, and he's just like, no, this is fine. I'm not dealing with this. Except he has a weird sex dream where she's just like, do something to make me forget about the scary stuff. My
Ooh.
zombie might be way scarier, you know.
Ooh.
What?
I-
Why would you call it that?
See, I kind of really liked this chapter, sort of, maybe, because at least for the first half, it felt like it was really playing to the premise, where it's like, all right, we need to go as hard as we possibly can so we can get rank.
Rephrase that.
No, I won't.
No.
We need to do as well as we can so that we can get to rank A and we can get our ideal couple situation going in this practical. And so it feels like Akari is like, all right, what's a cute couple thing we can do? We watch a scary movie, and then I get scared, and then I go to my big strong man for protection. And it really feels like she's playing up being scared, because she is doing like full panel, yeah, every time something happens.
I will concede, yes. That is what this chapter really has going for it, is they established that they both have people they'd rather be in a relationship with, so they're working their hardest to make it to the top so that they can do that. Which, if the rest of our reading had followed that being their motivation, I would have liked this a lot more.
Me too.
it plays both sides with it, and it really just ends up going nowhere a lot of the time. But yeah, so she's got cute couples pajamas for them to wear.
Mhm.
That's kind of cute.
And there's a whole thing about her changing in front of him, and he's just like, no, don't change in front of me. Wait,
We're
aren't there
literally in the room
cameras?
with the cameras. I don't give a shit anymore. It's been like a week.
And then
I've pooped
presumably
in front of these cameras.
Presumably because the guy behind the camera is trying to escape charges, he immediately flips the breaker to turn the power out. I'm not going back to jail. You can't catch me what they did with P. Diddy.
And now that it's actually dark, she's legitimately scared. And because they're both half undressed, she tackle hugs him. And he's like, what? Boobies on my bare chest, what?
And you hear the score counter increment literally 15 points. Like,
So either
Yeah, I
this
feel
AI
like there's
has,
I feel like there's something specific that the point counter wants. I don't know.
either this AI has hella night vision, or
they're 100% having night vision cameras, Sam.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it's 100% skin to skin contact. Skin to shirt contact.
Mhm.
I'm betting on this scorecard.
Popping her ass for the camera. It's great. It's good.
They still tell scary stories to each other.
That's hot.
He turns on his cell phone flashlight and she's like, no, don't look, I'm crying.
Oh, no, you can't see your cry face.
They're sitting in the dark holding hands, and she brings out her aromatherapy candle.
Yeah, that was kind of weird because not only is it an aromatherapy candle, which mood, it is also a fake candle that has aromatherapy properties. I'm just like, damn, I'm kind of jealous. I want to know where you got that.
Also a very sensual aromatherapy candle because it immediately puts her in the mood. And then she falls asleep.
Just let me rely on you. It's like, okay, hold on a second.
Except she pretends to be asleep so that she can cuddle on his arm because she has immediately given up the goal that this is fake.
Yeah, I kind of wish this is the case where it's like, much as I'm fine with Jiro, proxy protagonist that he is,
No.
I do wish Watanabe had a better protagonist to play off of, because I like her character, I like the way that it's going, but like Jiro is good at being a nothing protagonist that doesn't really work for what she needs to play off of.
Yeah, because she has this we're cheating the system kind of thing, which if he was also that, it would be really interesting. But because he's so milquetoast, she occasionally just has to fall into damsel in distress being saved by milquetoast protagonists, which makes her feel weird and out of character. Like the end of this chapter is just like, oh, okay, I guess you've decided you're into him now.
Well, because if he was a more engaging character and you could actually have the chemistry to make that work, her questioning what she really wants, because it's the idea of, do I want the ideal fantasy I have been chasing, or do I want the person who is here actually, who I actually am forming a connection with? And it's like, that connection is barely there because Jiro has to be, to some degree, replaceable.
Yeah. Well, anyway, them making out on the couch in the dark, or not making out, but doing something much worse,
Cuddling.
holding hands,
Very lewd.
is enough points to get them to 12th place. Or
12th place.
I think they're tied for 12th place with the couple below them, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're getting a B currently.
Yeah, they're placing really well.
Which cool. We'll have words on how the scoring system works when they spend an entire fucking half a chapter explaining how the scoring system works. And spoiler
in a way
alert,
that doesn't explain anything.
It's not a satisfying explanation. But the big tagline for this is that Minami and Shiori are placed 50th or 60th. It's unclear. Anyway, they're both failing with ease.
They're at the bottom of it. How could our perfect love targets be failing so terribly? I honestly thought this would lead to something where it's like, could the fantasy that we've been irrationally chasing not be good for us?
Well, Sam, that was your first problem. You thought this would lead to something.
The worst part is you're right.
There is a level of this could be interesting if it wasn't trying to be low effort. And the thing is, it's shameless about being low effort. So
yeah, it is.
It knows what it is. So
it does it though.
It is literally an Anon-kun, green text wish fulfillment post.
Yeah, that's what it is. But it has good ideas that I wish were in something that was taking itself a little bit more seriously.
To answer your question, Matt, I do believe it knows what it is, because at one point, Bro literally tells Protag-kun, "Dude, you're like the protagonist of an Eroch manga or something."
See, but then it would just be an Arrow H manga. It doesn't go that far. It just has weird shots sometimes. It doesn't actually set up situations that are anything more than we're blushing while holding hands.
It's straddling a weird.
No, that's the problem. It's not straddling.
Well, it's balancing on a weird, kind of incelly line where it's like, I need to have my sexual fulfillment of having a submissive housewife, and I want a complete slut, but I also want a perfectly demure pristine, pure housewife, but
Yes,
also
it's called A Lady in the Streets and a Freak in the Sheets. We know this, okay?
Except
You're
she's
skating
not
around
also
it.
sexist, corrupting, and I can't have a low value woman in my life.
So, actually, in all honesty, that's not how I read this at all. Because again, this is a very character focused thing. They front loaded all of the weirdness, and it really does seem to be about the personalities of the characters and what they want. And again, that's the reason why I wish Jiro was less of a cardboard
Yeah.
cutout. Because if you slotted a real character into that space, this would be an interesting character drama where these teenagers are sorting out their complicated feelings about each other.
You know what? I will side with you on that one, Jake, because I
Because like the
I had the
hero stuff
thought.
comes up so rarely. It doesn't really seem like a focus of the story to me. They're just horny teenagers who will occasionally do horny things because
what I'm-
teenagers.
I had the thought that it's like, okay, if we could give enough room in the manga for Jiro and Akari to like grow as people, we could get out of this sort of mire that we're in, and it'd probably be pretty satisfying, but
It would end the manga instantaneously is the problem they're in.
True.
That's the balancing act it has to do. And I feel if Jiro had, and it's like he doesn't have zero personality despite being replaceable, but he is a replaceable protagonist. If he played off of Akari better, I think this works. And that's sort of the little bit of a frustration for me is it's a like I like the character, like even onto Jiro, I like the characters, but he doesn't work in the role he's in. He should be the best friend, not glasses guy, basically, is how this story should work.
Glasses guy would be so much more of an interesting protagonist because he'd at least have flaws that are getting rectified. Like,
Yeah. I think I don't know. Jiro it's not taken far enough is the problem. He has flaws, but they're just not like they're not used in they're not leveraged in a way.
they don't ever actually cause him any negative
Yeah.
consequences. Like, so
Yeah.
he really doesn't have them, is kind of like from a narrative point of view.
Yeah, I would agree with that assessment. And like that's the nature of being a replaceable protagonist.
Yeah. But like this chapter is a great example of it feels like maybe this was printed in like an ecchi magazine, but the mangaka just wanted to write a cute romance and it was just like, what if I just put a bunch of like weird bra shots in? Because it just doesn't feel like it. It feels like it's an ecchi premise, and then you get entire chapters about I'm not feeling well. I'm gonna lay in bed sick today. I hope my wife stays and makes me feel better. Hey, sicko, you still sick? Feel better when I get home. Later, hanging with the girls today. Oh, my wife abandoned me. But we did say that this entire marriage thing was just for points. So, I don't know. Oh, my childhood friend came over to nurse me back to health. Man, this is really hot. Ooh, but am I cheating on my wife with my childhood friend? Nah,
Ooh.
not gonna worry about that. Meanwhile, we cut to Watanabe at lunch with the girls, and they're like, "Man, our fake relationships are going so well. Did you hear? So many of our classmates are actually hooking up with their fake relationships. It's crazy. Hey, how are you doing? You seem really distracted, Watanabe.
What? I'm not thinking about him.
Thinking about who? My sick dog. Aw, we'd understand. Go home and make sure the little boy feels all good. Oh, nope, don't like how I phrased that.
And meanwhile, Shiori is just like, yes, Jiro-kun, I'll make sure you feel good and I'll make you get nice back to health. Oh god, no, this is too lewd. I can't do it.
And it literally, at the end, does a bait and switch that she leaned over and kissed him once he fell asleep. And then we cut to the end where they reveal that she didn't have the guts to do it, which, I mean, good, consent's important, but also, like, what is anything going on here? Like, it's just a chapter of nothing really happening that kind of establishes that Watanabe is also feeling jealous, I guess.
Hmm.
But don't worry, we'll have other chapters that like indicate that.
The thing is this is establishing the dynamic between Jiro and Shiori. It's just they'll continue doing that in other chapters.
we already kind of had that established before, and we'll get more establishment later. So in like a retrospective, this chapter just feels meaningless.
Looking at it chronologically, this is the first time we see the story from her perspective as opposed to his perspective. But there are at least 2 other chapters that are literally this exact thing, but again. And the barely creeping forward that it does is the nature of a pure romance, because if you have people actually say and do things, then the story ends.
I don't know, Jay. What do you think?
I don't know. At this point, I'm just kind of just watching it unfurl, and I have my thoughts and feelings. But
what are those thoughts and feelings? Share with the class.
About what in particular?
Whatever jumps out to you.
You know what I will say I like about this chapter is it introduces. I don't think it actually introduces, but it
she just kind of shows up.
effectively introduces Watanabe's friends, who are certainly characters. Because they appear on the sexy cover at one point and reminded me.
So that's what that is. I was like completely thrown off by that. I'm just like, were those like supposed to be like random inserts or?
Well, yeah, we'll get to that cover when it comes up because it's really funny. But
just like, what?
There are like 4 characters in this manga, and then later on there is a cover of 6 women in like
to remind us there are other people who go to this school, I guess.
And you're like, who are these people? Don't worry. But yeah, so like I don't know. This chapter kind of has nothing happen in it, and that we also get the background for what's going on with them. Apparently, Shiori was like she was moving away to a new school.
Yeah, she was going to a private school, like that whole thing of, oh no, I have to go to a different school than you. Promise we'll always be friends. Yes.
And they functionally friend zone each other.
Yes.
His response is, I have something else to do, so I have to go now, because he's like, I can't cry in front of her that she's going away. Meanwhile, she was just like, I was kind of hoping you'd say we could stay together. And like he just leaves, and he's just like, I remember that as the day she broke my heart. And then later we find out she remembers that as the day you broke her heart.
They broke each other's hearts without even like confessing anything. So
they very specifically friend zoned each other because it's like the whole thing that it's like they're both saying, I promise we'll always be friends, waiting for the other one to say, and also, which doesn't happen because they're both shy.
And then,
I love it.
As this mangas want to do, it is forgot it's an ecchi manga the entire chapter. So we need to have the plot resolved by main character Kun talking to Watanabe while she's taking a really sudsy sour, like in a way that makes no sense. Like,
don't like touch yourself in the middle of the shower when you're just like,
not performatively. No.
That is very much what she was doing. She was not just rubbing down the soap.
This is while she's having a conversation with.
Yeah, he's on the other side of the door. I think talking about, what was it, dinner or something?
Well, it's that he's saying, hey, by the way, Shiori came and helped me like feel better. And she's like, oh, so she came over. Wow. I'm fine with that. And he's just like, yeah, no, this is exactly what we were talking about, right? I'm going to we're going to get closer with Shiori, and I'm going to help you get closer with Tenjin. That was our entire plan that we agreed to, right? And then she cuts to her breaking down and crying in the shower because she was not aware and is struggling with the feelings.
She is not aware how much that her feelings had changed under the surface.
Yes. I mean, I have my own hypotheses, but I even wonder because we don't get this kind of depth. It's really the 3 of them that we have this character analysis. We don't really know about Minami. We know he's smart. We know he's really hot. He's really nice. Cool. Yeah. We don't know anything about if he is pulled any certain type of way. He is just hot guy who's also very.
He's currently just to the obstacle. I do think it's kind of interesting that they do go into the 2 girls' perspectives. It's
almost like a love triangle within
Well, if it was just from Jiro's perspective, then it would come off way worse than it is. it would paint his mindset and decisions in a much worse light when you see that all three of them are stupid teenagers who don't know what they want. It, it makes it feel more natural, but at the same time, not to beat the dead horse, but whilst Jiro is fine as a main character, he kind of needs to be the linchpin of that trio, and he just isn't. Like, Watanabe is just so much more interesting than he is.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, next chapter is an entire thing about bento cooking.
Because it seems to be
Yeah.
the only thing that Watanabe is good at. So she wants to do a good job because she's got someone to impress, I guess.
As I like to call this chapter, Bento Gate.
Oh.
I love out of context while she's like, because the entire thing is she wakes up early to make food for Minami because she's going to bring him a bento as like, yeah, we decided we're both going to pursue these relationships. And he goes, let me taste the food. And she's like, okay, fine, if you're hungry. And he takes a bite and he's just like, just as I figured, it sucks. And I'm like,
Sucks being in this weird relationship where I'm torn between my love for my childhood friend and these odd feelings I don't want to acknowledge, and also she wants this other guy, and that's truly what's so horrible. And okay,
Yeah.
okay, manga.
oh, okay, you're playing both sides a little too hard right now. Anyway,
Yeah.
she wears a ridiculously cute outfit. Like, it's insane.
Yeah,
Like, she decided, man, what's that like farmer's daughter trope? Yeah, that's just gonna be my outfit.
she's the girl from the Dukes of Hazzard.
She's Jessica Simpson.
Yeah. So she spends an entire time making an adorable bento, and because this manga has amazing timing. Oh, I'm sorry, no. She
It-
first begs to have a safe trip goodbye kiss,
Uh-huh.
which
And,
is about to happen, but is interrupted by Shiori at the door, and you're like, ooh, is Shiori there to make the main character feel bad? Not this time.
she's here to make the other main character feel bad.
it has soap opera timing because, in all honesty, like, it needs to.
Wow, guys, can you believe it? Minami-kun is such a sweet tooth that I went and made him a whole bunch of quiche and pie, but it was actually too much. So, out of the goodness of my heart, I brought some of it over to you. We're just so full back at our apartment. Here, enjoy this quiche and pie from my husband, who has such a sweet tooth. Wow, it sure would be embarrassing if someone made him a really savory bento right now. Anyway, bye!
I love that she specifically says, by the way, I'm bringing this to you because Minami said that you guys would probably enjoy it. Like, Minami sent him here. So
I know!
that's so much worse than she was being a nice person.
So bad, but it's so good.
Ugh.
But this causes Akari to enter a, honestly, character motivation wise, very interesting depressive episode.
Oh, I will say,
Just-
like, the stuff being mentioned that Matt has mentioned about, like, it will randomly dovetail into out of place ecchi. That's true for a lot of the, like, incidental shots. But one thing that I thought was really cool is it uses when Akari is choosing to be sexy. That's character motivated in an interesting way, and I really liked that aspect of it. Like I said, Akari's an interesting character. I wish she had a better protagonist to play
Yeah.
off of.
Yeah, this chapter is the closest this manga gets to just being like decently written ecchi, because it's essentially her going like, wow, I thought I was good at cooking, but I guess that's ruined for me. I've got nothing going for me. And she's kind of aware that's not true, but she's looking for validation at the moment because main character Kun goes like, well, no, obviously you've got a lot going for you. And she's like, what do you mean by that? I mean, well, I'm a dude.
You're very hot. You're very hot.
Oh my God, your body is smoking. Stop making me say this out loud. Are you turned on right now? Yes, but as we established earlier,
But
that's a physical reaction. I'm emotionally invested in another woman. And she's like, but I'm better than her. I need to win over her right now. It's like, God
Yes,
damn
and-
it.
so you're saying you find me hot. Yes, but the way that I've been saying this all feels really objectifying, and I'm kind of trying to backpedal from it, but I'm really failing at doing that. And she's like, oh, being a sexual object, I can do that. No, wait, I feel like that's not the healthy option you should be taking right now. Come on, fuck me. No.
And then he holds her hands and pushes her down and is like, no, that is a thing for people to do when they love each other. You are ruining such a saintly act. Trollop.
Okay. See, okay.
Matt is
this
exaggerating in this case. That is not what happens.
No, he's not.
That is exactly what happened.
No, he's not.
That is the subtext of what goes on.
This is why I call this manga incel coded, because it's literally, wow, she's such a slut, but no, she must remain pure.
Yeah. Anyway, because
Well,
he
simp for my waifu.
yeah. So he rejects her physical advances, and that is not the headspace she needed right now. Which I don't know what would have been a good headspace. This is not a healthy relationship at this point. But that causes her to
Seriously.
go, I guess we're going to just quit being a couple. And then the manga does like a time skip a couple of weeks, and they have just given up on the assignment.
Yeah,
Because
their really good score has tanked massively.
All the way back down to 0. And then the other weird thing, and I try to like the things that we read. I try to, put them in the best light as possible. So I do wonder why they just suddenly have Shori and Minami like near the top of the couples class thing.
Exactly. It makes no sense.
I don't know why. I don't know why narratively that was done.
Well, it's so you can have the whole thing as it's revealed that Minami and Shiori have no interest in actually swapping partners with their like top tier score, but neither of them give a satisfying answer for that. So it's really weird.
Yeah, I thought it was supposed to be like a dramatic parallel where it's like, wow, Jiro and Akari are doing surprisingly good. Why are Shiori and Minami doing so badly? And then, whoa, Shiori and Minami really pulled things together. But now, oh no, our main couple is doing so badly. Except that's kind of really weirdly explained by the rules of this thing.
Like, it makes no sense why their score went to 0.
Mhm.
Because presumably you only lose points when you like do things that are actively against being in a relationship, and they
Well,
kind of just both quit the assignment.
I guess that's supposed to be it. Like the camera heard them essentially say, let's break up, and was like, all right, cool, 0.
But except for the fact that makes no sense then, if this is an assignment for their grade. Like, you would think teachers would... We know the teachers care that they're not getting points because we see that scene earlier.
Yeah, that happened earlier. Yeah, and then the thing for the other two suddenly doing super well. This is kind of why I'm a little bit annoyed and confused about how much of a not character Minami is, because I feel like if it's like, I don't know if there's going to be some, like, at some point we're going to get to see their perspective, and then, like, that's going to, like, address this, because I don't know what that's there for.
Yeah, they set up Minami. He gives his reason and that he just... I'm sorry, this is the next chapter where that's actually explained, but like... Because this chapter pussyfoots around main character and Shiori talking in the most talking over each other and not actually having a conversation. That, like, it's insane. She just keeps repeating that she's his childhood friend in this conversation, and nothing actually happens.
Yeah, because the like premise of this chapter is that they both ended up on class duty together. Wow. Oh wait, is
No,
that the one?
that's after that.
Oh.
This is the conversation on the roof.
Yeah,
Because she
Oh,
knows
right.
the thing is what's going on here is she knows he's in a bad place, and she's trying to insert herself into like into like his sphere, and she keeps leveraging the childhood friend thing, but she's unwilling to commit any further than that, and that's why it keeps spinning its wheels. And it's like, I like that as a dramatic element.
Oh right,
but
this is the one after the urinal council.
That sure does happen. But it's like, I like this as a dramatic element, but there needs to be something else here, because otherwise it's just characters repeating the same information over and over again.
Yeah. Anyway, he comes home after having a non-conversation. Shiori says at the end of their conversation that she's jealous of their relationship, but not to him, so nothing is resolved from that. Like, an emotion you already know she has is reaffirmed. Like, anyway, he comes home. Apparently, he gained no points from his wife cooking him dinner and leaving it with reheat instructions. Apparently, that's the bare minimum of a wife in this manga's idea.
I don't like it, but you're right.
Yeah. I guess that's why they don't have negative points. But anyway,
Well, they do go into negative points, so at the very beginning.
oh,
Yeah,
Well,
so like
they are not currently in negative points.
Right.
Watanabe has been maintaining the bare minimum, so they are at least at 0, I guess.
True.
Anyway, so he knocks on her door and she takes that as like, hey, come in, because we got a bone for points. Like, that's really what's got to happen here.
Like, just come here, come into my bedroom, get on my bed. We're going to do some stuff. And listen, I'm really sorry about all the stuff that happened. I didn't mean to call you a loose woman. I just really think that sex is a sacred thing that should be saved for marriage.
Between a man and woman.
I feel like you're backtracking only to go forward again on your same, like, rhetorical path. No,
Also, really,
I'm telling you that you need to respect yourself by not being such a loose hussy.
You need to respect the body that Christ gave you.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
No, the conversation the characters have about not believing gay people exist is weird.
It's just like, you don't listen. I totally respect you as a woman. That's why you shouldn't be sexually liberated. Maybe I'm reading too much into it.
I'm gonna throw my hat into the ring because I did not get any of what these two are saying from this. So she was throwing himself on him in the previous scene. I don't think it's inappropriate for him to say no boundaries.
Yeah.
That is fair. That is fair.
That doesn't come off as incel coded to me.
No, that I agree with you.
Because, like, she was in crisis and doing something that they both would have regretted, and he said, stop. And I don't have a problem with anything he said in that scene. As for this scene, I suppose you can read that into some of the things he says, but it is explicitly him tripping over his words because he knows what he's saying is sounding weird and wrong. So, yeah, if you read him in the worst possible light, or the author in the worst possible light, yeah, you could read it that way, but the manga itself explicitly is about the fact that he can't get the words out correctly. So, like, it's supposed to be a cutesy moment of let's try again, and again, the idea of, are they talking about being together, or are they talking about their plan to cheat the system? And they don't know because they're shy teenagers who have no experience in this sphere.
He does put a wedding veil on her at the end symbolically, but
yeah,
it was weird.
Because he doesn't know what he wants at this point, because he's seeing the good side of her, but he also wants the idealized relationship with his childhood crush. And that goes further with the way in which she deflects from her feelings is by mocking him, which is where the scene goes from there. And it just kind of devolves into them doing their bit.
Yeah. And the bit is her mockingly saying, I like you. And then the second he leaves the room, panicking because she said the truth.
She's like, oh God, I said it. Thank God he is as dense as a neutron star.
Okay. We've had a lot of fun talking about character moments. I know what everyone's been wondering. How does this point system work? Well, don't worry. We're going to spend this chapter entirely talking about it in a way that's satisfying to nobody. Because
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. My eyes glazed over for most of this chapter.
Because
Me too, brother. Me too.
They established that the only people in the top 10 who didn't swap were Minami and Shiori. Because game theory, it's actually beneficial for you to swap. Because you can only score a maximum of 50 points in the practicum unless you swap partners, in which case you can actually score 100 points because you add your previous successful relationship to the next relationship. So really, you should swap unless you've somehow scored 0 points, is what is explained to Watanabe, who's just like, damn, I'm at 0 points.
Okay, in terms of a crummy metaphor about how a breakup can make you better through experience at a relationship, I kind of get it, but they explain it so badly that literally I only understood it just because of the way you said it, Matt.
They explain it because swapping partners inherently gives you a disadvantage because you're starting fresh. You get the points added to your score as a bonus. And it's just like, but then in the system,
but that breaks the cap.
You're aware that the system is broken in your explanation, but they still do it because garbage. It doesn't matter.
The reason they still do it is because the entire system is dedicated to creating the scenario where I want to say 4, but really it's 3, right? Well, 2.5 right now. Main characters can have the relationship dynamic that they do. All of because it's like, say what you will about, Japanese birth rates and all. That's very funny, but whilst that's not an unreasonable thing to come to, because I did as well, it is also very transparent that everything about the practicum exam exists to facilitate the plot, including the stupid rules that don't make sense.
Yeah.
Because it exists to create the next scene that happens.
And like, what happens in the rest of this chapter is it's literally, it cuts between scenes to pad for time. Because what is actually happening is Jiro goes to talk to Shiori about, hey, why didn't you guys swap? Because we've just had it established that swapping is actually beneficial and there's no reason to not do it unless you're actually in love with your partner. And Shiori gives a terrible answer to this. Meanwhile, Watanabe is putting the balls away in the room. And then Minami comes in going like, hey, girl, I heard you was putting balls away. I got some for you. And then full on body presses her against the jumping horse.
This scene was just like, whoa.
This is the most graphic between a man and woman in this entire manga.
I'm just saying, part of me like winced because she's well endowed. And the way she was smushed, I'm like, girl, I know that hurts.
Her back is bent up against this. Meanwhile, Minami, in the panel that is the strongest evidence that he is gay, after like being skin to skin contact with her, goes like, whew, man, that was weird. You were startled, right?
Because the thing that's supposed to have happened is the precariously balanced gym equipment fell over and he pushed her heroically out of the way so she didn't get crushed by it.
Yeah, it's a rom-com moment that will devolve into a soap opera misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Because that's the only plot you can have in a pure romance.
Yeah. And anyway, she asks him the same question so that there is like some dramatic comparisons with the other two couple. And she goes, hey, why are you dealing with Shiori? And he's like, I don't know. It works so far, so I guess it's good enough. I don't really want more points. And at this point, I realized I'd misread earlier and I thought the two of them were dating. And then she's just crying, going, I really love this guy.
Yeah.
Which is just so sad.
She is hunting him, not the other way around. And I'm like I'm sure they've interacted before. He's just a nice guy.
Who holds a woman's head to look directly into her tears because he's never seen tears before.
God, he's just but the weird thing is, like, and I'm sure this is further along in our reading, but he's talented. He's really smart. They talk about how good at English he is. He's like that.
He's the idealized, high school guy.
But he's an idiot.
So basically, his explanation for why they haven't swapped partners is, I don't know, this is working fine, I guess, and Shiori's pretty cool. I don't really care to. Meanwhile, Shiori goes, well, it's not my decision alone. My partner would have to agree to swap, and I guess. And it's like weird because it doesn't feel like Minami's even had this question broached. So she's just not doing anything. And I'm like, oh man, this is really weird that all three main characters are super passive. How is anything going to get accomplished in this story? Don't worry, the mangaka's gotten out.
The mangaka hasn't out in terms of the best character.
But yeah, so because this entire chapter happened and like they both got bad answers to their question, you're like, oh no, wait, we need more soap opera drama. The main character has
like
that
they're kissing.
the main character has that stupid best friend. He's gonna come in and say, "Hey, your fake wife was kissing the dude she's in love with," and
What?
this is so weird that Jiro reacts the way he does. Because it's like,
It's
Well,
you
no,
do
this- he
this.
never-
this kind of makes sense because he's
He never
caught,
actually says it out loud, though. Or does
he's
he?
caught.
No, he does. He gets those cards at the end. He's just
Oh,
like, "Which card do
yeah,
I pick?"
it's the next chapter where he says, yeah.
Yeah, he does like, I guess I'll play the card. They really drag this out too. Like,
They pretend like bro tag is going to become the main character for a second.
and then he's just like, yeah.
We have established that would probably be more interesting, but
Yeah. But it's a conflict where it's like, okay, cool. My best friend and the childhood friend he has a crush on are like right here, and then there's both of their government appointed spouses
show up behind him.
show up behind him, and they were just totally making out from my POV. What do? I'm gonna run.
Well, we're not actually married, but I'm gonna feel weird about this.
Jiro's response is interesting. It's one of those like 3 moments where the manga gets actual pathos for a second.
Mhm.
Because Jiro's response is, "Oh, right. Well, this is obviously what she wanted. She wanted to get closer to Minami. This was the entire like point of our deal where we were going to try as hard as we could so that we could swap places with Minami and or Shiori to get our ideal fantasy scenario. Except both of us are too bitter to actually do anything."
Oh, this is the most pointless teenager bullshit because he comes back to their shared apartment. Also, I'm just going to bring this in here. I love because they need to establish that this is a husband-wife relationship and he is the salary man. He always comes back home to his wife completely dressed and done with whatever happened, despite the fact they leave school at the same time.
Yes, somehow she is always home with the house made and ready for him to return home and slumped in some provocative outfit on the couch.
As it should be.
The most teenager nonsense is she's feeling upset. So she's watching a makeup tutorial on YouTube on her phone, and he tries to have a conversation with her. She doesn't respond at all. So he responds with, "Sorry about not being tension." Like, that's not starting a conversation. That's just
I'm sorry, what? Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't be the super hot guy you were making out with instead of me. You thought I was making out with him? Wow, you're fucking insecure loser, aren't you? I bet your dumbass friend saw that. He was just plucking some dust out of my eye. Yeah, sure. Okay. Wow, I was making out with him. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. You freaking virgin loser. Watanabe, why are you crying? I'm not. Shut up.
don't look at me. Look away. And then he hugs her tightly so that her head's on his shoulder. There, I'm looking completely away. I cannot see anything at all. And I'm like,
Damn, my man.
this is no longer a soap opera. This is a K-drama. Like,
Yes. How did
I-
you know? You've never watched any K dramas with me.
why would I do that?
I enjoy this sort of drama. I just wish that
I
there
did-
was more story besides this.
I did very much like this chapter. Yes.
Yeah, because again, this is I mean, like I really like Watanabe as a character because like this does such a good job of illustrating like that like her tell is that she deflects by mocking you know whoever is the least cool person in the room, which you know obviously Incel Kun over here.
Yes, and she does that. And she does that basically immediately after this tender scene is over.
I love what happens because this implies that she cried so hard she stained her shirt and had to swap out of her own casual clothes into new casual clothes. Meanwhile, main character Kun switched into his casual clothes, popped open a beer, and then his wife comes in and goes like, "Hey, I was feeling sad, so I decided to deep throat a popsicle."
Yep.
Not only is she deep throating a popsicle, she's wearing his shirt.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's wearing his oversized shirt and her lacy underwear.
So So you remember how I mentioned that when it was character motivated and Watanabe was like getting like really frisky with Jiro, it was like really good character stuff. And like that was the thing that I really liked about this manga. This is the weird framing crap where it remembers it's supposed to be an ecchi and just does sexy stuff that feels really out of place.
That popsicle is melting very directly into the shape of a cock.
I want to know who bought the popsicle that is the size of a human penis. Like,
Size of a very well endowed human penis.
it looks
Oh.
pretty average to me, but okay.
Whatever, Sam.
Okay. The both of you.
But yeah, I just love how she's just like, well, I was embarrassed and vulnerable for a second. Better put on his shirt and deep throat a popsicle. Like,
Yeah, you gotta assert dominance.
Yeah, that is in character for her, to be fair.
Yep.
It is. It's great.
Because she something else that gets established about her, and it's something that gets explicitly stated later, but is like this is building up to that, is that she has a very, very strong competitive streak and makes everything a competition to her own detriment. It's a big part of the reason why she won't just say out loud that she actually is developing feelings for Jiro.
Catching feelings. Can't
Because
have you knowing that.
if she admits to that, then she's losing. Is like her big hang up.
Yes. You know what? It really doesn't help the toxic teenage mindset of relationships are competitions to be won when they are literally attaching points to it.
It's almost as if the system is fucking stupid.
Yes.
No.
I've been ragging on Jiro a lot this episode, but he really is a product of his environment.
yeah. And like the thing that she then Watanabe eventually reveals is, hey, by the way, I'd never kissed anyone before you kissed me on the lips. So yeah.
Because after she's done deep throating that popsicle, she's like, I bet you think I kiss a lot of guys, huh?
That is a thing. She drops the finished stick before she does it. So she was just like, hold on, just gonna lean on you and deep throat an entire popsicle to completion. Like,
And you know he watched her do it too.
yes, he
Oh,
must
he did.
have.
He did. Well, she leaned her head on his chest so that she could hear his heart racing.
Sucking on that popsicle. Get really how it gets her going.
Yeah.
Or something.
There's a funny gag about I didn't think I'd ever make it to 108. I liked that joke. That was a funny joke.
But yeah, we get the big reveal that he was her first kiss, and he feels really happy about that, but also not, because there's a lot of confusing feelings about that. But on that note, we've read enough of this, and holy crap, does it decide to do something really different in the next chapter? So we need a break.
I was just about to say, I think this is a good spot for us to take a quick break. We'll be right back, folks.
Everybody go get your popsicles.
Everyone needs to deep throat a popsicle by the time we get back, especially
Yep.
all of you driving a car.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get my sucker. And welcome back to the show, folks. Where last we left our young couples, we had more slice of life shenanigans happening. Particularly the revelation that Akari, the apparently very sexually experienced one, is just as much of a virgin as our protag-kun.
Mm-hmm. Which, amazing revelation. And you're like, huh. Matt, you mentioned earlier, your three main characters are all so incredibly passive. How is this plot going to move forward? And I know what you're thinking. So let's have a cover photo where we show all five main girls. And I know what you're saying. Matt, that doesn't make any sense. I only know two main girls. Oh, wait, that's right. Watanabe has two friends that I can't remember the names of. That must be them. But who's this sexy tomboy on the side? Don't worry, because the mangaka has solved all their problems by including a sassy lesbian tomboy.
The lesbian. She's just very flattered.
I have so much to say about this character.
With immaculate tan lines.
Immaculate tan lines and wearing a knee brace.
Yep.
Mhm.
I will say, speaking to that cover, I do remember Watanabe's characters, or two friends, as a single collective character. But yes, I get to this page and I see this group of characters, and my immediate thought is, oh well, I guess we're getting a new character.
Yeah, that we do. As is
Incidentally, this is actually also where we in medias res back into the first page of the manga.
yeah, literally the
Yep.
opening of the manga.
Which is a weird place to come back in. Like, yes, they've to some degree, like, their relationship has moved forward, but I don't feel like it's that big of a change when compared to the other nothings they've stepped forward on.
This feels like the mangaka made a story decision and was changing direction. And it was just like, oh right, we also in medias res at the very beginning. That can go here. Like,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter.
We just need something that can vaguely be a like median for this relationship.
Yeah. So anyway, he's going to school and she's not, and he's got clean up the classroom duty. And we find out that Shiori had someone named Mei-chan who's being introduced by being named by a character before anyone knows who she is.
Mhm.
Great introduction. Had swapped class duty with her so that she could be with her childhood friend.
Mhm.
We then cut to Mei,
To-
the only character in this manga who does anything. The plot would grind to a standstill if she did not exist.
I love it. So I want to talk about Mei as she's presented, and like I'm going to talk about Mei as she's presented chronologically in the manga, because
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. The first like shot we get of her, I'm like, all right, I think we have Best Girl appearing here. Best Girl territory has been breached.
that haircut does so many good things for her. Wow, she's cute. Oh my gosh. But then basically, unfortunately, Mei's introduction is sandwiched in between one of the nothing chapters where Shiori refuses to do anything, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because this one is very, like, this entire chapter where it's not Mei's introduction is functionally identical to the Jiro was sick chapter, and it's not
It
the
even
best.
has Watanabe talking with her friends about stupid drama. Like, it's literally the same
Yeah.
structure.
So we can basically just skip that because it does have a vibe to it that feels like it's doing something, but it's the same thing over again. Mei is the real draw here. And
Listen, girl, have you accidentally fallen on him yet? You can press your boobs into his face, your butt, I don't care. You just need to accidentally fall on him. Mei, I'm not gonna do that. Listen, if you don't kiss this idiot, it's never gonna get through his head.
If you don't fuck this idiot, I'm gonna fuck you. Mei, what did you say? Sorry, that part's revealed in the second chapter, but also is strongly implied here.
So why I said I am personally going to talk about Mei chronologically. I am sitting here like, is this a sapphic coda as I think it is? Is Mei?
She's
Mei's
drawn
hitting on Shiori, right?
She's drawn as a masculine love interest in most of her panels. Like, that is the role she is playing here.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where like I'm sitting here like, am I reading something I want into this that isn't here? Turns out, as we'll find out later,
She's massaging her wrist, which is very sore from all the girls that she's been
slapping in the face because she loves Jesus, but we'll get there.
Oh my Lanta. But yes, Mei is
same chapter that happened before. Like,
yep,
yeah.
it's the same chapter that happened before.
Well, actually, it does have at the end of it tacked on something that is actually like genuine character movement. It's the sort of thing that I wish could happen more, but can't. And it's where the naming thing comes up.
It's very cute too because Watanabe comes home to her husband on the balcony, which amazing. Their apartments have balconies. These people live a better life than I could ever. But like she's got cute little coffee mugs that have their initials on them, which prompts the whole conversation of, "Hey, can we use our first names?" Because that's a whole thing. And she's like, "I made too much hot milk. Do you want some?" I'm like, "You made 2 mugs of it, and one of them has his initial on it, girl.
Girl.
What are you trying here?" Well,
Mhm.
what she's trying here is she's jealous of that she saw the attempted cute moment happening in the classroom, but then that goes nowhere, and then it's not actually even brought up again here, so that's not the point. But that's the inciting incident.
Indeed. This is also the panel that I keep alluding to, where I'm pretty sure that the mangaka only knows how to draw girls in provocative hentai poses. Because this is Akari, like, full head to toe, straight on shot, and her pelvis isn't real.
Yeah, I see what you mean now.
Either those are the weirdest booty shorts I've ever seen in my life, or her pelvis isn't real.
Also, the fact that she must be holding these mugs basically underneath her boobs,
Yeah.
which makes no sense unless
I'm
I
not-
know where she got that milk from.
Listen, I'm not normally one of those Twitter or Tumblr weirdos who's like, where are her organs? But seriously, her pelvis isn't real.
Who knows?
You know what I think? You know what I think the problem is? Because I honestly, the dialogue to me in this manga is way more interesting than anything going on panel. And then Sam pointed out this, and I'm like, oh yeah, I see that. But I think I also see the problem, and it's the jacket she's wearing over the
Yeah.
top. Because if you follow the line of the side of her body with the jacket as opposed to the edge of the jacket, but the eye is drawn to what's like inside of what the jacket is framing, and
It's
it
like
looks wrong.
the jacket is drawn to be skin tight, but is baggy, and that's throwing off the entire like body
Yeah,
shape.
yeah.
But regardless, this is just a conversation about first names that ends up being just cute nonsense.
Yeah,
It is pretty cute.
this is dragged over several chapters, but in a way that's natural and actually one of the better like narrative elements of the it's one of the better relationship elements of the story. But the whole
Yeah,
thing about it is she's been calling him by his first name, and he doesn't want to call he's very reticent to call any girl by their first name, because that's more intimacy with the girl than he feels he deserves, because he's a shy, lonely teenager who has not necessarily the best mindset about these sorts of things. So, and it will go on in preceding chapters to actually no, it moves on to she starts only referring to him by his last name, because she's mad that he won't do what she requests, even though she's been using his first name.
Yeah, there's this whole thing on the balcony where she's like, come on, call me by my first name. Do it. You won't, virgin. You won't. Yeah, I guess I will, Akari. Say it again. What, Akari? Say it again. I mean, yeah, of course you like it. It's a very pretty first name. And it's like, oh, you think I'm just being vain again? Oh, that hurts me emotionally, but I don't know how to confess that. So I'm gonna run inside and curl
Can't
up
show
in the
weakness. That means I'm losing.
so I'm going to run inside and curl myself up in the curtains
Yeah,
as a sad burrito blanket.
it's a very weird paneling choice. I'm gonna be honest. Like,
Yeah, trying to make the best of the scene setting, but like she could have easily just gone there. But I don't know. I'm not gonna litigate this one. It's
so
just
Sam, if you don't want to litigate this, you know what we can litigate? The
What?
fact that this practical course was a terrible idea. You know why? Because all the students are failing.
That's right.
Yes!
Yeah, sandwiched with all the naming stuff, because I knew there was some space between it being brought up here and the big emotional break. There's a whole thing about, so all of your other classes are tanking because
we decided to marry all of the students.
I just noticed May is in the same class as everybody else.
She
Yeah,
wasn't before.
surprise
She-
classmate.
She is now. I wonder how that is going to play out in the future. I don't know if I don't know if the series can retain my interest long enough for that.
But to Matt's point, yes, shockingly, our grades have been dipping because we put a bunch of horny teenagers in government-sanctioned relationships and encouraged them to be all lovey-dovey. Surprise!
Not just that. Actively penalized them if they weren't boning. Like,
Yep.
I never could have seen the consequences of my actions.
main character Kun just goes like, well, that does happen every year. And it's just like, what? So this is a terrible idea.
It's worse than that. The teacher says, this happens every year. It's to be expected, but it's particularly bad this year. What the fuck do you mean?
Everyone's
You need
fucking
those scores
too
to get
hard.
to university.
They're all banging too much.
Anyway, so what we're going to do now is a very convoluted system. We're going to have emergency tests, and you are going to take it with your married partner. And to incentivize the people who are doing well, this point score, you will add them together, and you might be able to get double points on this assignment because it's still a max of 50, but you get your partner's points added. And if both of you fail, then you both have to go to remedial classes.
No, if one of you fail, you both have to get remedial classes, which is worse.
Well, yes, but one of you would fail because your scores are combined. But yeah, I see what you mean. It's just so dumb. It's so dumb that they felt the need to explain this. And then this just prompts them to study?
This is just a cute couple studying together bit is what this is.
Well, yeah, because what's happening is Watanabe hates studying and starts crying like a child. And then when that doesn't get her what she wants, she immediately tries to fuck the main character because anything is better than math.
Period.
She's literally like, "Hey, let's do something more interesting. We need to pass these quizzes.
I'll literally let you do whatever you want to me. Study! I want you to study!
He uses the textbook as a shield against her.
I do not want to do remedial classes with you, woman."
It is worth noting, this is a filler chapter.
Yes.
But it is an excellent filler chapter. This is one of the better chapters in the manga.
I did enjoy this one.
No, because it's her actively not wanting to study in any way. But anyway, she solves 4 math problems and is suddenly not an idiot, I guess, because we find out in like an offhand comment in the next chapter that they passed their tests.
He's a remarkably quick study, it seems.
Yeah, it's brushed off because this plot point existed to the tests existed to facilitate this chapter and nothing else. Just like practical exam exists to facilitate the plot of the manga.
It's just they make such a weird choice to have the teacher explain that this entire practicum is nothing but a hindrance to the school and just goes, yeah, well, we'll just deal with it with more tests.
It's
a very American solution.
I guess most of the weirdness was front loaded.
Yeah.
It still operates to the manga's benefit.
As much as this is a filler chapter, it still does have a bit of pathos for Akari, because you can see her getting like visibly frustrated as she's like, "Hey, did that make your heart skip a beat?" "Nope, I'm paying attention to math." "No, come on, tell me, are you getting flustered?" "Nope, I am studying right now." "Am I making you hard or not?" "Nope, I am doing math." "Damn it, man!"
It's confidence and body issues. The other thing,
her complete lack of confidence in herself is a very interesting character bit that gets very tragically little screen time.
Yeah, the other thing is, this is also where she says the quiet part out loud, and the reason why she does the flirty nonsense is because she's made a competition of their relationship. because when she finally gets him to react to something, she just says, "I win." Unfortunately, it works a little too well, but this is an Ero manga, not an actual hentai, so it ends on a gag.
Yep. So anyway, the next chapter is literally everything in my life is going too well. Why is my wife angry at me?
Man, I hate when that happens, right, fellas?
So I'm of two minds about this because, for one, there is a level of, and I loathe human contact, so I've not been in a relationship before, so I don't know how realistic the whole premise of, like, the the wife slash girlfriend won't communicate with me, what am I supposed to do thing, because it's pervasive in media, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But it's like I'm just sitting here like, wow, this is perpetuating a really unhealthy stereotype. That was my frustration for the chapter. They at least pay lip service to the idea of, like, he does figure it out on his own, and it does show that they're growing closer to each other and understanding each other better, which is the idea behind that. But it's still weird to get there.
Yeah. It makes me so hopeful for this manga where I had very little hope because it was just a fluffy kind of ecchi rom-com.
Jacob, I also don't want to take anything away from you. Because you did say that main character Kun figured it out on his own, which is only partially true. Because the only time anything happens in this manga is when they are directly inspired by Mei.
Because Best Girl is in this chapter.
And
This is the second time that we're properly introduced to her, and we are introduced to her by her turning down a female kohai who is basically throwing herself at Mei.
Mei senpai, I love you so much. Please, I just wanna. No, I'm sorry, but I just don't like girls like that. It's okay. No, you're a wonderful person.
Shoujo sparkles.
I'm sure you'll find someone that will be perfect for you. Listen, I'm going to give you a nice, comforting hug, and when we let go, I don't want to see any tears, okay? Mei, stop being such... If you're trying to stop having lesbian crushes on you, why are you doing this?
Because she knows what women want, and she knows what men want. It's confusing.
Meanwhile, best friend is just like, my God, she is the perfect woman. If girls can date other girls, what hope is there for us?
That fucking line. I love him and I hate him.
Oh my God, he is particularly bad this chapter because earlier we forgot to mention he noticed main character Kun Googling girlfriend angry, and he's like, whoa, you're getting in a fight with Akari? That's crazy, man. Yeah, my assigned wife was getting pretty angry with me. So what I did was I patted her on the stomach and said, that time of month, huh? I was being so nice.
And then she didn't talk to him for the entire rest of the day, and I wonder why. What the fuck?
You know what? That does give context. Jiro is not as bad as this guy.
I love this guy because his response to seeing that tender lesbian moment is to go, hey, you know she's paired up with a guy too. Damn, would it be hot to have her as my wife. Meanwhile, main character's just like, you think it'd be hot to have a lesbian as your wife?
Yes.
You being a man.
I can correct her.
You've Jesus Christ.
That is what he's thinking. That is what the character is thinking.
Through Christ, all things are possible, I guess.
Oh, he is the worst, and yet he's funny.
Yeah, and then main character imagines Watanabe in a sexy outfit, and main character's friend just goes like, no, you gotta save it for the full page illustrations. You idiot, don't use that in the thought bubble. Basically, main character is getting changed in his room, and apparently their doors no longer have the fingerprint lock because Watanabe...
Is he in his room, or was that the bathroom?
He's in the bathroom.
I'm concerned if the bathroom doesn't have a fingerprint lock too, because that would seemingly defeat the purpose of...
I mean, they could all just have locks on, like... tumbler locks on the inside of the door.
No, it has to be fingerprint locks. So that you can't pick the lock.
Because we're in the
Those kinds of
cyberpunk.
locks don't need a key on the other side. You can just turn the thing.
We're in the cyberpunk future, Jake. It's a dystopia.
But anyway, they made it to 8th place with 29 points, which, man, a lot of people have been losing a lot of points, I guess.
I mean, is it because they're distracted and they're all taking a bunch of remedial classes? Huh?
Honestly, that probably did a lot, was the people got knocked out from the remedial classes.
I'm just saying, though,
That's
if you have a problem of your grades dipping, I'm going to make it even more difficult because not only are you still expected to keep your points for being couples, but now you can't fail
Now
any
you
of your
can't-
quizzes.
You fail the quiz, so you can't do cute couple things for the cameras, so you start failing that class instead. It's almost as if this practical exam is fucking stupid.
So anyway, Watanabe is being the perfect housewife because she wants points to win the contest, and main character has decided that she is angry with him, which
Isn't totally untrue.
he ends up being right, but she has given no indication for that to be true. So this is...
Well, no, it's because she stopped using his first name after the conversation that they'd had about names.
Yes, but the problem is that's identical to her respecting the healthy boundary he's setting up that they are not a real couple.
No, that's true.
Like it, that's the problem. Is he goes like, "No, you're right. I should do something I'm uncomfortable with for you, Akari." And she's like, "My God, you're going to make me come. I'll just keep repeating your name then.
Stop
looking at me while I come."
But they have a whole, because of course these romance characters can't just communicate with each other. She doesn't actually say, "I'm not mad at you, I'm just respecting the boundary," or he doesn't say, "Are you mad at me?" "What? Mad at you? Why?" And it just turns into him trying to get used to the idea of saying her first name while she's like so peppy and happy. She's like, "Yeah, we're doing great on the practical. We passed our quizzes. You know what? I'll dry your hair for you after your shower. Come here."
And then he's like, "No, we're not doing a fake relationship. We're doing a real relationship. And I now know you get off on me using your first name."
Oh, and they get points for that.
Yeah, they do.
They sure do.
Turns out this school gives you points when you make your wife come.
You know what?
Glorious.
Girl power?
Yeah. Times 10.
Speaking of girl power, we need
the plot to move forward, so May has to show up again. Yay.
Literally, we go to the track and field club, no boys allowed, and literally there's just a group of girls saying, "Hey May, are you gonna get changed?" "No. Were you waiting for me to get changed? We're gonna leave now."
No boys allowed, and it's full of the track and field club is apparently all lesbians. How did I miss this in high school?
Yep. So
no wonder I never got laid.
Yeah, that was the reason.
Hey.
Oh, that is severe roasting on that one.
But yeah. So unfortunately, May notices that main character Kun and Watanabe are now in 8th place, and she realizes that's a problem because we can't have Shiori feel any amount of jealousy or do anything.
Well, she can feel jealousy. She just can't voice it out loud to any human person.
She can only feel it in a very chaste way.
She can't act on it because that would be
that is something evil that only lesbians do.
My friend is going to lose out on her relationship with the man of her dreams, who's a total bland weirdo. Seriously, why does anybody like this guy? And at this point, I'm like, you know what, May? I'm with you. I don't understand either.
I love how May just goes like, "Yeah, no, you need to fuck him. Sorry, you need to kiss him. But the second part isn't off the table. Do what you need to do."
May sets up a convoluted way for the two of them to have a conversation. Not super convoluted.
It's not convoluted at all. It's pretend to be sick and I'll tell him you're in the infirmary. And it's literally just like, well, May, why don't you go see her? Because you're both girls. And he's just like, no, that's stupid. Why don't you want to go see your sick friend? Here, give her the sports drink. I love sports drinks. I should know. What do you mean by that, May? Nothing. Go on.
Why? Well, why would I go to see her in the infirmary? I'm sorry? Do you need an excuse to go see a sick friend and make sure they're okay? Wait, what?
Yeah,
You're getting...
yeah, because people will start to assume things.
It is
Even though
funny
those
that
things
ends
are
up being the end
true.
result of this.
Yes. Even though the things are true, you don't want people to assume.
I'm with May on this one, though. It's just like apropos of nothing else, of none of your weird virgin fantasies. Your friend is in distress. Go make sure they're okay.
Meanwhile, Shiori is panicking in the bed, making sure her hair is all nice and done up, and then puts on like a nice thick layer of lip gloss, proving that main character Kun is the stupidest fucking human being alive because he walks in on her completely made up, ready to smooch, and goes, "That can't be her." Wait, hold on. Sorry, I mistook you for someone else.
It's worse than that because she doesn't even have the confidence to put on the lip gloss.
Oh my god, she just holds
on
it.
that too.
She holds it tantalizingly near her mouth. Jesus.
Yes.
Oh my god.
You came. You actually came. Yeah, I'm gonna need to change my pants. I mean,
He then tries to put the sports drink down, and his hand collides with the one that's already there because Minami brought sports drink here, which means Minami is the best husband ever because he didn't need to be told by May about the fake plan they set up.
he just happened to somehow hear your wife is in the infirmary, and he went, "What? She passed out? She probably needs electrolytes. Let me go get her a Gatorade."
Damn.
I know sometimes she just like puts too much effort to things in our apartment, so she really needs to learn how to rehydrate.
11 out of 13, man, right there.
Yep.
How do you think we keep getting top scores? Minami may be gay, but he will bone his wife for extra credit.
Now that's a true beard right there. It's the woman that's the beard. I used that phrase wrong.
Regardless, because this is the last chapter of our reading, we finally get something kind of happening.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Because we get an actual kiss, but it's accidental. So
Yeah, and it's basically them coming to the conclusion that, hey, you feel like you're not a good enough wife for Minami, but I think you'd be great. Really? I'm such a drag. I'm such a goody two-shoes. No, guys are really fucking into goody two-shoes. I don't think you understand the girl next door appeal. But I've been your girl next door this entire time. Yes. Yes, you have.
You sure have. Boy, that would be great. Hey, do you want to practice kissing? I mean, for our government-assigned spouses, of course, not each other. Haha.
You think my wife would appreciate me practicing kissing with another woman? Actually, my wife, yes, probably.
And then they waffle on this for 6 pages.
It's so long. It's like she pats the bed and is like, come into bed with me to practice making out. Oh, nope. Now I'm nervous. Now we're going to do a whole thing about counting sheep or whatever. It doesn't matter. Then they waffle on it some more. Then they hold each other at arm's length, and then they pull back. And then the girl I keep forgetting existing, but
Sachi.
Sachi, Watanabe's friend, comes walking in, goes, man, good thing I went to the nurse's office. There's no one here. I'm going to take a sweet ass nap. Oh, wait a second. There's guys and girls' shoes by the bed, and I hear the bed creaking and groaning, and I'm reading this going like, wait, hold on. Why is the bed creaking and groaning? That doesn't make any sense. And then we cut to hit main character Kun has just planted Shiori down and is like viciously making out with her.
Get it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because
yes.
He got so startled by somebody coming into the room that he leapt forward, which caused him to plant her on the bed and put their mouths together.
It was a fear kiss. Fear kiss.
Honestly, I'm not sure how much you're joking right now, Jay, with saying it was a fear kiss, but I genuinely think that's actually what it was.
I didn't mean to. I was scared.
I was scared, and then we made out for the entire minute that Sachi was in the room. We know this was a long time because Shiori is out of breath and gasping for air.
Mm-hmm. As Saichi runs out, just like, sorry to interrupt.
Well, sorry to f you and leave. I mean, kiss you and leave, but I'm gonna leave you bed-raggled and in like a very worn-out bed and immediately run into May. And May's just like, damn, girl, I said that first part as a joke. I didn't mean you to go through, but you got your man. Good job.
Wow, you actually did it. No!
No, I didn't. We just kissed. It's like, oh, so he is a loser with absolutely no personality. Why is everyone in this school into him?
Oh. May really does feel like she's self-aware of the manga she's in. Well, she does for a while.
It would just be so much better and interesting if you just fucked me instead. Oh, actually, on that topic, I made you this cute little Lucky Charm.
I love the instant the Lucky Charm comes out. I'm like, I wasn't reading into this. This is going exactly the way I think it is.
I love how May's just like, yeah, damn right, call me mommy.
Yeah, she literally does. Oh. Sapphic with unrequited love for the straight girl ends up being her wingman. This is my favorite kind of drama. I love this shit.
Well, as your mama, I can't let you date anyone less manly than I am. And that's why I'm getting you this cute little charm. Oh, God, I want to fuck you. What? Nothing.
Anyway, let's cut to the girl group because Watanabe and her friends are great right now because Sachi comes back and is essentially just like...
Wow, Sachi, you're not skipping class. I thought you were going to the infirmary to conk out for the entire period.
No, you don't get it. Because I totally went to the infirmary and you would never guess it. Two people were fucking boning in there. They were on the bed and they were pounding. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't even imagine some people would do that, right? Just going to town on each other in an infirmary?
Yeah, wow, that's crazy. Also, my husband is not responding to my texts about what we're doing for dinner tonight. I even sent a cute little emoji of please respond. And hey, there's my phone. Let me see. My bad. I didn't see the message. Shiori had collapsed and went to the infirmary and I visited.
Yeah, oh my God, whoever those two people in the infirmary were, she better make sure she's not pregnant. Because he definitely came inside.
Oh my God.
Meanwhile, the third friend is just like, hey, you've named my exact fetish, so I need more details.
More information, please.
Okay, so the last part of Sachi's comment that Matt just did, that was an exaggeration. The part about the other friend whose name I can't remember, that one is literally true.
Natsumi is a freak.
And that is why I remember these two as a collective, because they're really freaking funny.
Oh. Yeah. And we basically end on Watanabe looking at her phone in horror, realizing that her fake husband might have cheated on her. And also, main character Kun is legitimately having a crisis of faith that he kissed another woman.
Yeah, they're on the same page. Obviously, she has different assumptions than he does, but they're both having existential crisis of, did I cheat? Did he cheat? Will they ever confess their feelings, he and Shiori? Finally? I mean, they kind of did.
It depends. It depends on how involved May continues to be.
Will main character Kun shoot down Shiori so that May, being ever the athlete, can go after that rebound?
May quite literally is playing the entire school for fools. I don't know. Like, this is some kind of isekai. Like, she got isekai'd into a school where this is like normal, and she's like, oh God, this plot is not going anywhere.
Let me fix that. I will say I do find it amusing that here's May, who will just say the quiet part out loud about the protagonist, which really does make it feel like she is self-aware of the manga that she's in. And yet, when it comes to her crush, she's just as much of a doormat as the rest of them, which I find entirely amusing.
It's something in the water. Has to be. Something in the sports drink. That's what
It
it is.
is so funny, and that is the exact kind of drama I am here for. Yes, please.
Oh, and thus brings us to the end of our reading. So, favorite character and favorite of the little vignettes. Honestly, I gotta say that Akari is my favorite character because she's actually a character, unlike Jiro. I really like the studying chapter. It showed a depth to her character that they hinted at earlier and I thought they weren't going to do anything with, and then they did, and that was a pleasant surprise for what I thought was just going to be kind of schlocky trash the whole way through. So, yeah, that's my answer. Matt, how about you?
I mean, how can I say my favorite character isn't May because she is the only one who does anything in this manga. Yeah, and favorite little vignette. Oh, the studying one is pretty good because it's got the whole this practicum was a terrible idea, but just for the sake of variety, I really liked the drama with kissing in the infirmary. Because that's a great May plot. That's a whole like great ending for our reading. And Watanabe's bitchy friends just making the whole thing way worse than it ever was. Great. Love it.
Jay, how about you?
Okay, so my favorite character, as controversial as he is Kano. Kano's
pretty good.
He is by far the funniest character, without a doubt. Even if he is an awful human being,
he is just awful. But he just says the most off the wall stuff.
Guys, guys, full reveal. I had no idea who Jay was talking about.
Kano's the weird, literal 2D woman worshipping friend.
Yes, the best friend who I thought had no name.
The friend who was named eventually and apparently is also participating in this game, and whose wife, I don't know, I guess they flunked out. I don't know.
I want to know what's going on with his wife. That's really...
Yeah, I mean, he's the one who still makes dedicated times to still game and whatnot, so I don't know.
Can I switch back to Kano then as my favorite character? Because he does have that amazing line where he's just like, "Hey wife, what's up? You being a bit bitchy. You on the rag? Huh? Feel better, queen. You go ahead and bleed out and have weird feelings you can't control."
We literally only learn his name as a way of making Minami even cooler because it's like, wow, Minami remembered my name.
My favorite vignette, though, is Jiro and Akari when they have the thunderstorm in the spooky movie. That was so cute. And I literally was just like, oh, this is your chance, King. And then he, like, ruins it somehow. I don't know.
He is the master of fumbling, like...
fumbling the bag so hilariously. I don't know. But that's only because I like spooky things. Only in this case, at least for me, roles are usually reversed. So, yeah.
Listen, having scary movie be catalyst for girl to cling on to you is top tier.
Date element as old as time.
I'm a big fan. And Jacob.
So the thing is, I like the bones of all of the characters. Like I said, even Jiro, there are elements to him that work. He's just not fleshed out enough. The two standouts for me by far were Akari and May, because, like, honestly, Akari deserves a better series, and May is all of the things I like. So I think because
Jake likes the sporty lesbian.
I love that character, man. That's just such free drama.
Literally, the only thing that's missing is blonde.
I
was about to say 100 Girlfriends has the blonde sporty lesbian.
It is. I love. I don't know what it is about sapphic relationships in media, but they have the juiciest freaking drama. I love seeing the sapphics suffer, and then the coming back from it, and the big sparkly ending, that is just everything I love, and I am anticipating that for being May's trajectory in the story. I think Akari is probably the better written and more like academically interesting character. But since both characters were picked, I might as well just go with the one that is me coded and say May is my favorite. As for the favorite vignette, I definitely have to go with the studying one, because it is an excellent example. Like, for one, it has elements that tie into the interesting aspects of our two main characters, particularly Akari, but Jiro to a lesser extent, and it actually does move the plot a little bit in this, glacial pure romance series. But the other thing I really like about it is I love the fact that it is a really good example of this is what filler can do for a story. Because what's really important in a romance series, and why, despite how slow paced it is, it feels really fast paced at times, is slow moments like that establish a status quo for you to build on in the bigger romantic moments. That chapter is a microcosm of how you do a serious long running romance right. Like, one chapter, stretch that out to an entire series. You have a bunch of cute, fun, silly stuff that endears you to the characters, and then a big dramatic thing happens, and the relationship changes a little. And just because, filler is kind of a dirty word in media, seeing filler done perfectly in a really enjoyable chapter, great jokes, great bits, good character moments, that was the most fun I had, the uh, throughout any of the individual chapters.
Yeah, I'll give the manga this. It did filler really well, and that sort of dovetails into my thoughts on the plot. I feel like I was pretty mean to this manga, and I don't entirely know if it's without recourse.
I mean, you did marathon it, as you told us before we started.
Yeah, I did our entire reading in a single day, which was not great for
No,
the
I mean-
mental.
this is definitely meant to be sugary nonsense you read once a month, but
Yeah, so
I will say, I think that the criticisms that have been leveled at this manga for the majority of our adventures here, I think that they're fair, but it's enjoyable in a lot of ways.
mhm.
If you're willing to meet it on its own level and not, take it that seriously and let it be the sugary nonsense you stop by at once a month, I think it works. I wish it was better, though, because it has so many good ideas. It has a bunch of good characters, and even the incomplete characters, the bones are there. You know, the basic structure is there. It's just incomplete because main character has to be replaceable,
It
among other
honestly
characters being problems.
it honestly has a lot of room for growth. Like, there were points where I'm like, okay, I can see where this guy's gonna grow out of his flaws and become a better guy. I can see where Akari can grow out of her flaws and become a better person, and that'll be satisfying. I don't know if I trust the manga to do it, but I can see it. So
yeah, it's kind of like the manga, and I think I mentioned this earlier. It feels like the mangaka realized that the three main characters had been written in such a way they were all too passive to actually push the story forward. So they needed to introduce May out of nowhere.
They needed to throw a rock at this pond.
mhm.
And like, cool, but then we see May is the only one who pushes the plot forward. So it's like, cool. Minami having basically no characterization still is just insane to me. He's just a good guy, really, is his problem.
Yeah, he's just kind of there.
Yeah, the big thing with Minami is there has to be at some point we need to suddenly get his perspective, and something has to come of that. And honestly, it's like I try to trust series. I try to like give them the chance. But the problem herein is because it's a romance, it kind of ties its own hands. I don't know if it's going to do anything in an amount of time that I feel is worth me investing it in. And then also, because it does have these weird digressions where it will just turn into an Ero manga out of nowhere, unmotivated. It does also worry me at times that it's going to be like maybe the mangaka had this idea but was afraid of actually like following through on it. So if it's a goofy ecchi series without a plot, you can't criticize it for having a bad plot. Which I really hope that that's not a thing, but it could just do that, which would certainly ruin it for me.
Yeah, I really feel like the crux of my opinion on this manga is, wow, it's got some real juice to it after you chew through like a whole bunch of really dry stuff. So that's my take on what I continue reading. I honestly think if I just kind of picked this up every now and again and did a couple of chapters, I'd be more generous with it. So I'll give it a soft yes, a half chub yes.
Very, very, very on point.
How about you? How about you, Jay? What would you say for would you continue reading?
I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence here. I'd have to say similarly, this is definitely meant to be read over the period of months, not one day. Though I was the one who picked this piece, I don't think I would actually continue reading it.
I feel like you probably have better versions of this already on lock.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm also the kind of person like I like this genre because I feel like it's very cute. It makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside. But I don't read these types of things long term.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Yeah. It's kind of like, oh, this is cute little story. Makes you feel really nice. I'm not going to read this for months and months and months now. So probably not for me.
Yeah, it's a nice little dose of sugar when you feel you need it.
Yes.
How about you, Matt?
Yeah, it's gonna be a no from me. I got bored during our reading of this, and like, I think my main problem with this is it really toes the line between being just your standard cutesy romance and then like weird etchy plot setup, but it doesn't really commit to like funny etchy bits. It doesn't even really do etchy bits. It kind of just portrays Watanabe, and that's the entire bit. And obviously, there's a studied chapter, which is a good chapter, but one of 13 is really my thing. And I would have preferred it picked a side than kind of straddling the line it did.
Mm-hmm.
It was weirdly etchy in points to the point I'm like, well, that's kind of weird when the rest of your plot is like this super cute thing. And then the super cute thing is just in the way of everything else. So it's like, I don't know. It did not catch me, so I would not continue reading.
And Jacob.
Yeah, I definitely want to continue reading. I'm probably going to try to read it at a slow pace because that's the way it wants to be read. But the big thing about it is, in all honesty, for me, because it has these underutilized but very robust characters that are just like ripe for big drama. I'm waiting for this to devolve into basically a soap opera.
Mm-hmm.
And if it does that, I'm golden. I don't know if it's going to do that before I get bored of it, is I think the big element. Because it might not do that at all, but it also might take way too much time investment for it to be worth it for me to do that. Because there are other things I can get my, juicy drama from.
Yeah.
I really like, honestly, I really like all of the characters. The level to which certain, because it's like Akari is just a really good character. She deserves a better story. I hope this becomes the better story she deserves because I like a lot of the other characters. I wish there was more to them. I wish, I want to know what's up with Minami. Like, I want to see something big happen. And again, it's like, turns out he's gay. It's like, that would be great. That would be a well foreshadowed big twist that would throw a big wrench into the story.
Mm-hmm.
And be a lot of drama and, It shatters the fantasy of Akari, so I could imagine her spiraling into not having a particularly healthy view on Jiro, and like that, tea getting spilled. But I really hope it's not chapter 50 before something like that happens, because I'm not going to read that.
Yeah.
In aggregate, it's on thin ice, but I really want to like it. So I'm willing to give it the chance.
All right. So thank you, everybody, once again for tuning into the Over Manga Cast. As always, you can find us on all your social medias where we are at Over Manga Cast.
You can also find us on YouTube, where you can like, comment, and subscribe. The episodes go up there on a 2-week delay, so if you want our up-to-date stuff, you can head over to overmangacast.com. That even has a place where you can leave comments on individual episodes. Give us recommendations. Tell us manga that don't take a million chapters to actually get going. The format of our podcast is really not kind to them.
And as always, we appreciate reviews in any and all forums. Go ahead to overmongcast.com. Nice little comment section there. You can reach out to us, overmongcast@gmail.com. And, give us 5 stars wherever it is you can rate podcasts nowadays. I don't know. On your app, maybe? Maybe there's a thing you can do. Give us 5 stars. Do it right now. You're not doing anything. What are you, driving a bus full of children? They'll wait. Also, really irresponsible of you to be listening to this while we're having a bus full of children.
This in particular, this is a bad episode for that.
Those kids learned some shit today.
Do not expose children to this podcast. Bad things happen.
And I mean, Sam, speaking of shit you shouldn't expose children to, what are we reading next week?
And make sure to tune in next week, where we're reading the RWBY official manga. Matt, Jay, where are you going? Okay, looks like it's just going to be Jake and I. But yes, we're going to be reading the RWBY official manga, chapters 1 through 12. So if you're keeping up with the podcast, be sure to read that, and we'll see you all next Thursday. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Good night, everybody.